Coach Tony.
Okay, folks, we are back. You're with Hey Coach Tony on this fine Saturday morning on ESPN Radio. For those of you just tuning in, we're talking about the HBO special that was done, Real Sports with Brian Gumbel, where they were discussing whether or not college athletes should get paid and how unfairly these athletes are being treated. I'm going to get back to this whole special because there's some more things I want to touch on. Did any of you guys see the piece featuring the former head of the executive committee of the NCAA and the guy who's currently the president of University of Georgia? Is this guy a moron or what? This guy had the audacity to say, because he was starting to be questioned about, is this fair and what should we be doing, and how unhappy the athletes are in general. And he had the audacity to say that of all the student athletes that he has talked to over the years, no one has ever really complained to him. And again, really? Play the scenario out. I'm a scholarship athlete, and I go to the president of the university and I tell him how crooked he is and how unfair I'm being treated and how I should get paid. And then I go back to my dorm room, grab a bag of Doritos, and then I find out my scholarship's been revoked, and I got to go find a new place to go to school. Do you really think a kid's going to risk anything and rock the boat when they're in the midst of a scholarship campaign for college? You got to be kidding me. Nobody's going to make that kind of noise with the powers that be. All right, the toll-free number in the studio is 855-HEY-COACH. That's 855-439-2622. You can also email me your thoughts at heycoachtony@gmail.com. In fact, during the break, we got an email in from Steve from Ridgefield, Connecticut. Steve writes in and says, "Hey, Coach Tony, I just don't see how college athletes can be paid. Different schools make different amounts of money. At some point, wouldn't there be a terrible imbalance in and amongst the teams?" Now, Steve, that's a great point, and I started going into that a little bit with my brother John, but it's worth revisiting. It is a fact that there are actually teams and schools that lose money in the course of a sports season. And then there are the programs like Alabama's and the Auburns of the world that churn out literally tens upon tens of millions in profit each year. If you start paying the players, that's going to give a ridiculously unfair advantage to those schools. If a system like this were in place today, let me make it real. Final Four. If that system were in place today, do you think Butler would have made it to the Final Four? Not a chance. Not a chance, because they're a smaller school, and any decent player who could get a paycheck and all the side benefits for playing is certainly going to take that opportunity. So obviously there is something to be said for a talented group of basketball players who think a scholarship is a pretty good deal because they're going to be playing this afternoon. Now, again, I'm not saying the system's perfect, and I'm not saying that there's no corruption. I'm just saying that paying college players isn't going to fix a thing. It'll only put more money into the hands of kids who feel that they're being cheated because they're expected to get an education and use that education to actually make their mark in life instead of putting all their eggs in a basket of a professional contract. Kind of sickening, but you know what? That is the reality of it. And the streets are littered with idiots that thought they were going to be playing a pro sport or thought they would never get hurt. Anyway, we got another email from Coach Tom. Coach Tom in New Milford writes in and says, "Hey, Coach Tony, the NCAA, the college presidents, and the TV networks are all making a lot of money on the backs of these kids, so why shouldn't they share the wealth? It's unfair, and they deserve a piece of that pie." All right, well, Coach Tom, I'm not going to pick apart at your argument because I just think it's too weak, but let me explain another scenario for you, and maybe you'll see how ridiculous you sound. Forget about the fact that every player willingly signs over these rights when they accept a scholarship and a chance to play for one of these schools in the NCAA. Let's just stick to how other people are making money on these kids, because a lot of people say that. Money's being made, the kids deserve some. All right, the fact is, these kids are still amateurs, and they cannot get paid. That's just basically the law. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's the law. But let me give you a better example. Here in the tri-state area, MSG Varsity now shows high school sports throughout New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Follow your your Mongol logic out a little bit, and let me ask you this. Are you suggesting that the money MSG varsity makes should be shared with the high school students? I don't know, but I'll give you an even better example. Even better example. Each year, the mothership at ESPN sends major talent and resources to Williamsport, Pennsylvania to cover the Little League World Series. Now, can you imagine how much money the mothership makes during the course of the Williamsport tournament? Do you think those 12-year-old boys should get paid? Do you think they're being cheated? No, because they're still innocent and untarnished enough to realize that they're being given an opportunity to play this wonderful game that they love in front of millions and millions of people on television. They're just shutting up and having the times of their lives, and the players in the NCAA should feel the same way and do the same exact thing. Now, being an athlete, as I've said 1,000 times on the air, being an athlete is a privilege and not a right. So the next time you want to claim that the big-time scholarship athletes are being treated unfairly, try to get your arms around reality before opening your mouth. Because, Coach Tom, take the coach off the front of your name. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's got to be one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard. All right, you know what? This special wasn't all bad, because one of the things I really liked about the special was when they highlighted this guy, Rico Nunez, a former basketball player from UMass. This guy was not a star. He was on scholarship, but he was a role player. But a role player who made the most out of his free education. He graduated and now has a very good job. He is actually a recruiter, I believe, for a college or a law school. This is how the system is supposed to work. But Nunez jokingly says that he is the exception and not the rule. Now, that may be the case, but I'm going to ask the same question I was asking throughout most of the special, yelling it at the TV. Whose fault is that? Why are we taking the responsibility for an education away from the athlete? I mean, let's put it this way. They're sophisticated enough to know that they should be asking for a salary, right? And they know how to look at the spreadsheets when they know how much money is flowing through the system, but they're not sophisticated enough to know that the odds are against them making a career out of sports, and that they have the key to their future right in their own hands in the form of a free education. Now, see, this is what pissed me off about that guy Jason Whitlock. I alluded to it when John from Long Island called in earlier. This guy Jason Whitlock, who was on the panel, this guy kept insisting that we spend money to make sure these kids know that they should use their education. Spend money to give to college students so that they know they should take their college education seriously. Are you kidding me? This guy was a genuine Mongo. These kids obviously don't value something that most of us would kill for. And we should now give them more money so they appreciate what they have and what we don't? Actually, I'm sorry, I was a scholarship athlete, so I can't say we. But, I mean, are you completely stupid? Then this guy throws out, and I said this to John earlier, that we should give them bonuses, incentives based on graduating. And I think he used, I got to go back and watch it again, but I think he flippantly threw out a number like, and I think he said, $100,000 or $200,000 when they graduate. He wants to give a couple of $100,000 to these dopes when they actually graduate. Really? Really? I hate to put this guy in a box, but when I listened to him, I'm telling you, I was choking back my own vomit. It was like listening, if you remember when T.O. first was kicked out of the Eagles organization, and there was this big hullabaloo about what a pariah this guy was in the locker room. I equate listening to this guy to listening to Michael Irvin when he used to talk about Terrell Owens and endlessly defending this guy and the stupid stuff that he would do. This moron Whitlock thinks that every time a football or basketball player wipes his own butt, we should hand him a check. Come on, guy, get real. 855, hey coach, is the studio line. I think I got time for another email before we go to break. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do that just yet because I realized that it's time to recognize our Hey Coach Tony Team of the Week. And the Hey Coach Tony Team of the Week is brought to you by our friends at Signature Marketing of Simsbury and Southbury, Connecticut. distributors of top-quality promotional merchandise for your company. Now, this week we are honoring the girls' cross-country track team from Rochambeau Middle School in Southbury, Connecticut. Listen to this. These girls have won the middle school state championship twice in the past 3 years. Now, this year they won states, and a lot of them competed beyond the season with the junior Olympic team that is coached by Jeremy Schumacher, who is also the coach at Rochambeau. And this team is called the Bullet Hill Striders. Striders, which is, again, mostly the same girls from Rochambeau Middle School. They won the regional championship in Rhode Island, and then they went on to finish 5th in the country at a meet in Hoover, Alabama. Quite an accomplishment. I think what's more impressive is Rochambeau's top 9 runners are all 6th and 7th graders. So they're all going to be returning next year. So if you're a cross-country runner and you're in their section, you better look out, because Rochambeau is the team to beat. We're very proud of you girls. You did a terrific job, and I'm very proud to have you as Coach Tony's Team of the Week. We also want to honor their coach, Jeremy Schumacher, and so we're going to name him Hey Coach Tony Coach of the Week. This man is an exemplary coach, an amazing role model for these young kids. He coaches Rochambeau Middle School in the fall, and then my understanding is he coaches indoor track at Pomperaug High School in the winter. So, hey, Jeremy Schumacher, take a bow, Coach, and congratulations on being named our Hey Coach Tony Coach of the Week. And remember, the Team of the Week and Coach of the Week has been brought to you by Signature Marketing. Now, you ever wonder who makes those really cool baseball caps, coffee mugs, and T-shirts that you see with company logos on them? I'll tell you who. Signature Marketing. With offices in Simsbury and Southbury, Connecticut, their friendly consultants will help you with everything you need, from the actual design of a logo to picking out the perfect promotional product that fits your company's needs. So whether it's a golf outing, a sales meeting, or a fundraiser, nothing keeps your company in somebody's head like the world-class promotional products you'll get from Signature Marketing. Call Jennifer Holguin at Signature Marketing today at 203-232-0868 or email her at jennifer@signaturemarketing.com. You can even visit them on the web for more information at www.signaturemarketing.com. In fact, I just talked with Jennifer last week, and she was terrific. She helped me design a great coffee mug and a T-shirt that I'm going to start giving away to my favorite caller of the week. So keep an eye out for that. Jennifer is the bomb, and she works with a bunch of local school sports teams as well as corporate clients, big and small. She really knows how to treat a customer. So call Jennifer Holguin at Signature Marketing today at 203-232-0868 and start getting your company noticed and remembered. Now, if you mention Coach Tony and ESPN Radio, you'll get a free setup with your first order. So I want to say thanks again, Jennifer, not only for designing a great coffee mug and T-shirt for me, but for you and your team at Signature Marketing for sponsoring the Hey Coach Tony Coach and Team of the Week. You're listening to Hey Coach Tony on ESPN Radio. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.